Café.
Hello, I'm Robin Evans, and this is the Jewish Cooking Connection, and I am going to be making potato latkes today. It's getting close to Hanukkah, and nothing says Hanukkah like homemade potato latkes. So what you'll need are potatoes, the russet kind. You'll need an onion, a couple of eggs, some salt. I use matzah meal, and I use a lemon. The first thing you're going to do is grate your potatoes. And I always use a food processor because it's fast and easy. And I've got a couple of them in there already. I use, just push them in and they're done in no time. Okay, what I do next is I take the potatoes and I put them into a sieve because you're going to need to get all the moisture out of the potatoes. And that's just a process of squeezing and draining and getting as much moisture as possible out of these potatoes. The other thing I do is I take a lemon and I squeeze the lemon juice over the potatoes, making sure you don't get any seeds in it. Make sure you mix it up really good. You will not taste any lemon. It all gets drained out. But what it does is it keeps the potatoes from turning dark. And I think it might even give the potato latkes a little brighter taste. So you mix those up really good. Make sure that it's coating the potatoes. And in the same time, you're squeezing out any water that collects. And this just takes time and a little patience, but it really helps to make the potato latkes crispy. If nothing's worse than soggy potato latkes. And then what I do is once that is well drained, I take the chopping blade and I'm going to use my onion and I'm going to cut this into about maybe 4 or 6 pieces. Put that into my food processor. I'm going to put I use a third of a cup of matzah meal. Now some people use flour, but I find this is a little more substantial, so I like to use matzah meal. I put in a teaspoon of salt, and again, you might need more or less depending on your taste. I put in a couple of eggs. And now I just pulse that to get the onions chopped up and everything mixed together. Okay, so let me put my food processor back together, and I'm just going to pulse this a few times. I want to make sure that my onion is diced up. And then I'm going to add my potatoes in. Okay, so remember to try to get as much of this liquid out as you put the potatoes in. Now, I like my potatoes not too, I like it kind of midway between a hash brown and very well chopped. So I put it in, and then I'm just going to continue to pulse it until it gets to the consistency that I want. You can see it's about half and half. Okay, and then I'm going to put this in here. Now remember, I've put all of the matzo meal and the eggs in here, but I haven't put all the potatoes in yet. So I will add those next. So now we just mix this up really well. And again, you're going to put it back in the sieve and keep getting as much liquid off as you can. Okay, so we've mixed this really well, and I think it's just the right consistency. Again, you can see that it is chunky, and that's the way you want it, kind of chunky. And again, we're going to put it in the sieve and keep pressing out liquid as we get ready to fry it. Okay, we've set up our frying pan. We've got a ½ inch of oil, and I generally use a vegetable oil like canola oil or soybean oil. I think those have a high smoke point, and they don't add a taste to it, so that's what I like. And this is how you tell when your oil is ready. If you drop a drop of water in it, it will sizzle, and it's sizzling now, so I know that my oil is ready. I have the heat on to medium-high, and now I'm going to take some of the batter, the potato mix, and I'm going to press it down, and then I'm going to slip it into the oil. I'm using a slotted spoon for this, so I can push it down and drain off some of the moisture. Okay, you don't want to crowd these too much, and you want to get as much of this moisture off as possible. You'll still have some because of the egg, but you don't want it dripping if possible. Okay, I've put them in. I'm going to leave them alone. It's very important that you don't mess with it. You want to get it good and brown and crisp, and that means you don't keep moving it around. You just let it go, let it get good and brown. And then while this is cooking, I continue to try to get the liquid off of this. So you can see quite a bit has gone through the sieve. All right, so we'll just let that go. It can take up to 5-6 minutes. You don't want to rush it, and you don't want to overcrowd the pan. And oftentimes I'll have 2 or 3 pans going if I have a lot of latkes to make. Now, to keep the latkes hot, you can put them on a pan and put them in a 250-degree oven, and they'll stay hot until you serve them. And they also freeze beautifully. So once they're cooked, cool them, and then freeze them. And when you're ready to serve them, preheat your oven to about 400 degrees, lay them on a cookie sheet, and cook them in the oven for about 10 or 15 minutes, and they'll crisp up and they'll be fine. So we're just going to wait for these to get crisp, and then we'll turn them. So the latkes are nice and brown on one side, and let me show you how I just turn them over. Beautiful. They're crispy, they're dark, they're brown. I let them go again without touching them, and you see how they're released from the pan so they don't stick at all. And we're just going to let them go a little bit longer until they're well cooked on the other side, and that way they're done in the middle, they're crispy on the outside, and they will be delicious. Okay, so we're getting done. We're getting ready to take these off. They're super brown. I'm going to lay them on paper towels spread out on a cookie sheet, and as these get done, You can see they're nice and brown, ready to go. You want them, when you lay them into the pan, to be flat so that they will cook well on both sides. You can see this is nice and brown. And then we just lay them on the cookie sheet. They'll drain so they won't get greasy. And this is how you want them to look. Sizzling hot. Okay, and again, we start over.
Robin finished her latkes, and then she put them on a beautiful Hanukkah dish with her homemade applesauce and sour cream. We sat down and we ate them, and they were delicious.
Bali tenli Nescafe, Bali o chocoshena mespape, Karamota chai kosheita, Cafe, 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 cafe bekef. Bali kos cafe Turkey, Li Bali cappuccino Italki, Elo bli Cafe, cafe, cafe bekef. עושים לי סוכר ותגיש חרוגר, מתוק קצת מים, כל דבר נהדר.
תמיד פקודות היא מחלק